What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Weapon Collective. Once again, we are down in the Gat Cave, somewhat unfortunately, as I was hoping to be posting a range video today instead of another gun room video. But I had a few technical difficulties the last time I was at the range, but I do want to let you know that I am getting some content out there. I just want to make sure that I'm happy with it, so I feel like you'll be happy with it as well. Be patient, stay tuned, and I will have some range footage up shortly. Also, I know there's been a little bit of a lapse since I've uploaded anything new. I have been in and out of town, which makes it tough to film, but here today and figured let's get something going. And what is better than a B&T collection? B&T, king of the subgun. I love B&T, you love B&T, so let's take a look at my B&T guns. This first gun I'm going to show you, I selected for no other reason than the optic mount that's on it. So after my last video, which was a video about some of the less common optic mounts that are my favorite, ones that you don't see every day, I got a comment from a viewer who said, hey, you should go check out the ScalarWorks Leap 12. I said, brilliant, I agree, I just didn't even think about it. I have one on a gun, and it is the B&T APC9 This is the ScalarWorks Leap 12 mount for the EOTech XPS3 in conjunction with the G33 magnifier. Works with the G45, any magnifier. And you can see that it just runs this riser for the XPS3 and then has the little platform, the pick rail for the magnifier. Brilliant little mount, and ScalarWorks just has their click drive that you turn that little wheel and you can lock this thing down, take it off. Very easy, brilliant engineering as always from ScalarWorks. It is a 2.26 inch optic height. I told the viewer that made the comment I would show this at the beginning of my next video. There you go. That is the ScalarWorks Leap 12 mount. Good idea. Thanks for the reminder. As for the gun, as I said, this is the B&T APC9 Obviously, Swiss gun, marked 223, but it is chambered in 5.56. And this is a 16.5 inch barrel with the full size can on here. I got a dead air Sandman on here, and it gets a little on the long side for me. My preference is the short guns. I like 10.5, 11.5, 12.5 tops personally, but that's the type of shooting that I do most often. This is awesome for certain purposes, which is what I use it for. So I don't shoot it as much as I shoot my other B&Ts, but let's go through it. Dead air Sandman up top here. I've got a Surefire Scout Light on the side that I'm operating with the Surefire SR07 pressure pad. I do love my Emissary Development cable clips, and I got a BCM vertical foregrip up there as well. This is also outfitted with B&T's folding stock, and this is a piston gun, so this is functional from the folded position, which is super cool. It does have an adjustable gas system on here that you can very easily dial in. Right here, suppressed, unsuppressed. Great gun from B&T, full ambi lower, like most of their stuff. It is a side charger, a little different manual of arms from your typical AR-15 platform. And I love this gun, although I don't shoot it a tremendous amount, but it is a badass gun. So this is the B&T APC9 223. Okay, this next one is pretty cool. Although technically it is not a weapon that was manufactured by B&T, it was imported by B&T, and it did become known as the B&T 15, and they were marked as such, but the one that I got was very early, and it is still marked as the Honol CR223. A little bit about this before we go over the gun. This Honol is a German firearm manufacturer, and this gun won the contract for the German military, although it was short-lived because HK sued Honol for patent infringement for this thing being too close to the HK 416. And they had to discontinue production of this as far as I am aware. I think they're even trying to go back to 2018 and get some of the guns that were shipped. So it's basically a semi-auto 416, or as close as you can come. It is a really cool little gun, great for a little collection piece. But let's go through it. I have a Dead Air Sandman K up front with a Modlite PLH V2 18650. So this is the full-length body, full-length battery on here. Operating that with the Surefire SR07 pressure pad. I have an Emissary Development mini handbrake up here, which I like these things a lot. Aimpoint Comp M5 on a Unity mount. Other than that, haven't done that much. It does have the B&T flip-up sights, the SB Tactical SBA3 pistol brace. And one cool thing about this for sure is this rail system on here. So you can just push this little button in here, turn that lever, and your handguard comes right off. And as you can see, it is a piston gun with the self-regulating block on there. Slide that right back on, and it does have that nice little 416 index point on there. Keep that rail nice and snug. Turn that lever, and you're back in business. So I'm glad that I got it when I did. Doesn't see a lot of range time. This is for the most part just a collection piece, considering the rareness and availability of this thing, particularly that it is marked as Honol CR223. But I don't know, maybe it would be even more rare to have a B&T 15. I'm not even sure on that, but very cool. I like it. This is the Honol CR223. Okay, now into some more B&T proper stuff. And this is gonna be the B&T USW A1 pistol. This thing is, I'm gonna say it is half of what it could be or what it should be, because I have not taken the time to Form 1 this thing and SBR it. It doesn't have the folding stock that it was designed for. You can see this back plate right there is designed to have a folding stock that comes and hooks on this little lever right here. You'd hit that and release it, and that makes it such a different animal. I'm going to get around to Form 1ing this thing, just haven't done it yet. I'm just so sick of dealing with the ATF that it hasn't happened yet. Let me take you through it. This is obviously chambered in 9mm. It's a 4.3-inch barrel on this. Really cool the way that they put this taper on the slide. B&T may have some specific name for it. I just call it the cocking taper because it is very ergonomic to use. Obviously got their Swiss branding right there. Sorry, this lighting is trash. There you go. I have a CGS Mod 9 SK on here, and this is a B&T branded light, but it looks exactly like an Inforce APL to me. So I'm assuming they just branded that for B&T. And then Aimpoint Acro, it's got a P1 on it, and after I got this, I've had it for a while, But after I got this, I saw online that some of these were shipping with the Aimpoint Nano, which you can only get on 2 guns that I'm aware of. That's the only way to get that optic. One of them was on this Uswa A1, which I unfortunately didn't get. And the other is a gun I'm going to show you at the end. Like I said, it's only half of what it could be and eventually will be. I haven't had the willingness to deal with the ATF. I'm still waiting on a bunch of crap to come through the pipeline. So until I get all that stuff, I'm not submitting any more NFA items. But this is the B&T USW A1. Okay, so those are the less commonly known B&T items. So let's get into what we know B&T for the best, subguns. And that of course is going to start with the APC9 Pro. This thing is such a killer little subgun. The APC9 came about, they started work on it in 2011 on a request to replace the MP5. And they came out with this guy, and it does a fantastic job. I'll let you be the judge of how it stacks up against the MP5, but this thing is nevertheless an awesome little gun. Folding stock on it. I do have this rugged Obsidian. It is a Glock lower. You can get these in, I believe, you can get Glock, you can get a B&T lower. I've heard you can get an HK lower and you can get a Walther lower. I haven't seen those, but that's what I've heard. Full ambi lower, side charging handle. Like I said, takes Glock mags. So I've got it with a rugged Obsidian that I took some baffles out of to get kind of the K formation here. It is a non-reciprocating charging handle out here on the side, and it is fully ambi. Righty or lefty, you're gonna have a charging handle, but if you're a lefty, you're still getting brass ejected in your face because the ejection port is where it should be. And I've got a Honol CR223 on here. This has gone through several configurations. I've had different optics and different pistol braces, and I've had this thing configured in so many different ways. This is just the most recent, which I am liking. It is a very fun, fast little gun. The only thing maybe I would say I don't love is their safety selector. I have to basically do that move, which is just fine, but if I could do it all with my right hand, that would be preferable. But it is just kind of not the most ergonomic of switches on there. As I said, the Honol CR223, that's a solar charging rifle sight. And you gotta love Honol. They're just innovating like crazy. Maybe they're not the most durable or the highest end optic, but geez, they're coming out with stuff just left and right. And I love that they're just bringing new stuff to market all the time. Super cool. Thank you, Honol. Since rail space is an issue up here, I do have the B&T flip up sights, but I do have it mounted backwards in the front just to save some space. So I could put this mod button up here in the 12 o'clock position. This is a little Arisaka hand stop up here. The folder brace on here. This is the most recent and probably my favorite. This is from SB Tactical, and that is the APC9 Pro. And I like the APC9 so much that I had to get the APC9K. It is clear. So the APC9K, this one has a 4.3 inch barrel, has the same stock from SB Tactical. This is also a Glock lower. I'm trying to keep things consistent. If I have one, I want the other one to be a Glock lower. And I do have the Q Erector 9 on here and took a few baffles out of this. I think this is just about the right length. It isn't unwieldy, but it's still quiet. I like that. On this one, I have the same B&T flip up sights, although I don't have this one flipped around backwards, so the mod button is mounted a little further back, which does make it a tad bit more difficult to reach, but still works. Same ambi lower, everything. The only thing different is the length of it, the K version, just a tad bit shorter. I've got an Aimpoint Comp M5 on this spur mount. It is a great little, very rigid mount. I like it a lot. And then I've got a little Arisaka Scout light on here, or a Scout body with an Arisaka head on it. This is the KM1E. Activating that with the mod button. And that is the B&T APC9K. Next up, we have one of my favorites, and that is the B&T GHM9. So this thing is so cool. This is the Grasshopper Mouse 9. And for those that don't know, the name of this, the Grasshopper Mouse, at first you hear it and you go, what? That's a stupid name. But the Grasshopper Mouse, if you haven't heard, if you have, sorry, but this is redundant. B&T made this after CZ already had the Scorpion on the market, and they came out with this, basically the Grasshopper Mouse, little rodent that lives in the southwestern United States and just devours scorpions. Immune to their sting and just a scorpion killer. So they named it the Grasshopper Mouse 9. And if you take this telescoping brace off, there's a little picture of a grasshopper mouse eating a scorpion in there. Very cool marketing, but that's how you get a name, Grasshopper Mouse 9. This one has a 4.3 inch barrel as well. I've got a Thunder Beast Arms Fly suppressor on here, a Modlite PLHV2 18350. This one, I have the mod button mounted on the 9 o'clock position, just due to rail space on this with those pop-ups. I could take the pop-up and mount that, but I like it configured like this. It's got a side charging handle. This one is a B&T lower, and I have B&T's jet funnel magwell on there, which I really dig. Trijicon MRO on a Unity mount. The best thing about B&T is these telescoping pistol braces. Just collapsible, compact with this tri-lug barrel. I mean, it is just, pop that can off and you got such a teeny little compact gun. Super cool. Gotta love those tri-lugs. And that is the B&T GHM9. This next one is somewhat similar to the USW A1 pistol that I showed you in certain regards. So this is the B&T TP9, and I say it's similar to the USW A1 because this feels half complete to me as well, because as you can see, the barrel on this is not your average 1/2 inch by 28 threads. So it's a very specific suppressor that goes on here that I'm currently waiting on. It is in the pipeline over at the ATF. And until I get that back, this thing just feels so incomplete to me that I don't even shoot it. Has maybe the worst trigger ever. This trigger is dog shit. But very cool little gun folder on here, and just one teeny little package. I got it in this flat dark earth that I love, and it's a B&T mag as well. I've got a Sig Sauer Romeo 5 on here and a Surefire Scout light that I'm operating with this mod button up on the 12 o'clock position. Folding brace, charging handle, little T charging handle up top. The TP9 is a very cool little gun, although it's just been patiently waiting in the safe for the suppressor to show up, and then it's gonna see a lot more action. This is the B&T TP9. Okay, you go from the APC9 to the GHM9, and then B&T's most recent little sub gun is going to be the SPC9. This thing is kind of a Frankenstein. It's got a T charging handle in the rear, it's got a side charging handle up front, and it's kind of a mix of AR-15, MP5, and an APC9. It was developed by B&T after a request from a European agency came out that they wanted AR-15 and MP5 controls that they could train in 9mm, and this is what they came up with. And lucky enough, they released it to the civilian market here in the US. Now we have the SPC9. Very cool little gun. Does have, this is a hydraulic buffer in here. So it has essentially a little buffer tube that you could take this telescoping brace off and run an AR-15 buffer tube with whatever your favorite stock is. Very cool, very fun to shoot. I've got an OSS Huxworks Rad9 suppressor on here, Modlite PLH V2 18350 with the mod button, Aimpoint T2 on a Scalarworks Leap 193-inch mount. This is just a BCM charging handle, so you could throw a Radian Raptor charging handle in here as well. This is a B&T lower. I also have the Jet Funnel Magwell on here. They nailed this one. This thing is super cool. That telescoping pistol brace is so badass. This is the SPC9 from B&T. I got that SPC9 and I thought, oh, black is so sexy, but I do love some FDE, so I had to get the SPC9 in this FDE just because it is just a good looking freaking gun. We'll just go through this. I think this can look so good on this gun. This is the Silencer Co. Omega 9K. We've got this Holosun 510C on a Unity fast riser. And then it's basically everything the same, except this one has a Surefire instead of a mod light on it. Still has the mod button. All things being equal, I would probably take this one. I think the FDE is just so good looking, especially with this can on it, but just such a cool, fun little gun. If you haven't shot the SPC, this thing is a blast, especially with the AR-15 controls. I prefer charging handles in the rear. The T charging handle, it's just faster for me. And it's probably just that I'm far more used to AR-15 controls than side chargers. That is the SPC9 in FDE. All these guns that B&T makes, these sub guns, they have just nailed it. They make perfect little truck guns, and you might be thinking, what about backpack guns? Well, they make the backpack gun. For the uninitiated, if you were just walking down the street, dude in front of you is rocking this, you don't have too many thoughts about it. It looks like he's a little book bag or something, and a little briefcase. When in reality, one little zip, you pull out this guy, fold it out, and then you could even pop that can on there. And then you've got the KH9 Covert from B&T. What a cool little weapon right here. This thing is badass. So slim, and that's before you even break it down. So you can fold that. Like, look at that thing. That'll fit just about anywhere. Particularly, you collapse that stock. And even with the suppressor, this thing is, look, I mean, just insane. And then pop that, and you are ready to rock. How cool is that? Like I said, this is the KH9 Covert, the Silencer Co. Omega 9K Mod Light PLH V2 18350 that I'm running with this mod button. This is the Honol SCRS that I showed you on the previous gun. It is a B&T lower, so B&T mags, same telescoping pistol brace. What a freaking cool little backpack gun. KH9 from B&T. Now that we just saw that KH9 Covert, this is the KH9 SD, which means it has an integral suppressor. You're running that can all the way about back to here, and then it flares out at the tip here. This is a B&T can, obviously, from them. And then I have this Mod Light. This is their PDW that I just mounted in the 12 o'clock position that I can just activate with my thumb, right like that. Little different than what I'm used to, but works very well. It does have the decocker on here, as you can see. Hit that, and then you get the little green safe icon in there. Aimpoint T2 on the Unity riser, and once again, you got the same little pistol brace, and this gun is so quiet. What a fun little weapon this is from B&T. They just make the best subguns in existence. They're so fun, always innovating, something cool. I love me some B&T. So this is the B&T KH9SD. Okay, and for the last and final B&T gun, I have the coup de grace right here. This is my favorite. And what is that? Well, something that comes in this case. So I'm gonna break the gun out, and then we will go through the whole kit. So let's start with the gun. Okay, so what we have here is the B&T APC9 SCW. That stands for Subcompact Weapon. And this gun was adopted by the US Army in 2019. And this is the first subgun that the US Army had adopted since the M3 grease gun. So it's been a long time, and this whole case package is the commemorative edition of the Army adopting that. So they only made 350 of these. So this is one of 350. It is just super freaking cool, super rare. And what I really dig about it is what I was talking about earlier with the Uswa A1 coming with the Nano. This is the other gun that allowed me to get my hands on the Aimpoint Nano. As far as I know, that is the only way that you could get an Aimpoint Nano. Little red dot, very cool. Little kind of micro red dot there, and I love that I was able to get that. Since I do keep it in this case, I haven't put a light on it or switch or anything like that. I haven't done really anything to it. I'm just trying to keep it in the same configuration that I got it in. Other than putting on the telescoping brace, I haven't done anything. I do have it set up with the Silencer Co. Osprey. Then it has the B&T flip up sights. Of course, the Aimpoint Nano, the brace, and then it has a little 25 round B&T mag with this base plate on it, which I think looks pretty slick. This is the B&T APC9 SCW US Army Commemorative Edition. Now you've seen the gun. I'll show you the whole little package here. Okay, so this is the case. I'm going to show you everything that comes in it. We'll start with this coin here, and you can see that it is a Little commemorative coin, marked B&T on that side. Subcompact weapon with a little icon. U.S. Army awarded 2019. Very cool. And then you have this. Well, what is that? So this is the Microtech Declaration of Authenticity for this B&T marked Microtech. And it is out the front. Awesome little double-sided knife. Super sharp. Very cool. And of course, you have the gun that we just went over, and then the B&T. This is the letter of authenticity, and you can see limited to 350. Very cool little piece of collectability here. I love this thing, and that is what comes in the case. Okay, so that's my B&T collection, ending off with this B&T APC9 SCW, which is so hard not to shoot sometimes. But I hope you enjoyed going through that collection. I know B&T makes some amazing firearms. I do want to take just a moment and once again thank everybody for watching these videos. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I greatly appreciate you guys tuning into this stuff, and stay tuned, be patient, and the range footage will be up shortly. That video is in the works. I just need to make a couple more trips to the range to get the footage I'm looking for. And I'm Jeff for the Weapon Collective, reminding you to keep your weapons collected and keep collecting your weapons. I'll catch you next time.